How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my totally not biased review of every single Marble Run set I have. In the last episode, we went over the first 3 Marble Run sets I ever got, which were Imaginarium, Corsetti Magoga, and Quadrilla. Spoiler alert, 2 of the 3 of those were absolutely terrible sets. So, no more intro, let's just get right into our 4th Marble Run set, which is the Galt Pinball Racer.
Galt?
I've decided that I'm just going to call this next set the Galt set because there's multiple variants of it which all have different names, and Galt Pinball Racer is just the version I have. So anyways, this is arguably, actually not really arguably, undeniably the rarest Marble Run set I have. I got it for Christmas in 2015 and it was discontinued shortly after. And basically, this is a Marble Run set that's actually designed for racing. So, it makes for really unpredictable races. Although, it's just pretty much just funnels and tracks. There actually is an extra element to it, but I'll get to that soon enough. But, even the funnels are designed for racing. You'll notice that if we look at the bottom, you can see they're very flat, and that allows for marbles to have much more unpredictable movements around the funnels. So that's you know me, you know I do marble races, so that's a big plus for me. And also the set also comes with a very fair starting position. As you can see, it allows for 4 marbles to start going down the track at the exact same time, which is a really neat touch I like. And unfortunately, I have lost a few pieces from this set over time, including the podium finish, which basically would just line up the 4 competitors at the end. So instead, I just have a regular track with a dice at the end, you know, so they don't go in the hole, which works pretty well for me. However, overall, even though this is a really good set, way better than pretty much all the other sets we've talked about so far, I do have my criticisms and problems with this set. Now, before I get into those, I want to mention that the version I have is called the Galt Pinball Racer because it has a unique element that came with the set, which I don't have set up here since it sadly no longer works, probably due to old age, and that is the pinball funnel, or dish, or whatever you call these. This is basically like an electronic piece, pretty much. What'll happen is like a marble will go into one of these 3 holes, or if it misses, it'll go to the center, which what's supposed to happen is the marbles will basically step on these pressure plates here, and then yeah, it makes that annoying sound, and then this ring bounces up and down, which pushes the marble back into these holes. But unfortunately, this doesn't seem to work very well anymore. You'll see sometimes it registers, sometimes it doesn't, like, yeah, and that causes marbles to constantly get stuck on this. But this was like the main feature of this set, and sadly I can't use that, so all we have are these basic racing funnels, which are still super unpredictable and all that, but this pretty much makes it so that the set has no variety at all, which is my first criticism with this set. You would think that they would incorporate cool things like jumps, staircases, peg mazes, or even split tracks, but no, it's pretty much just tracks and funnels, which, again, as I'll demonstrate now, is still enough to make an exciting and unpredictable race, but it feels like this set could have so much more to it, you know? And although if I still had the pinball dish up and working, it would probably make up for the lack of unique elements. But you know what? These regular funnels kind of do. Well, they're not regular funnels, they're racing funnels. And as you can see, they're definitely nowhere near as steep, and that, of course, allows for more unpredictable things to happen. However, unfortunately, the lack of variety is not even my biggest complaint with this set. My biggest complaint with this set is that it's really, really hard to set up for a lot of reasons. Let's go over them. As you are about to witness, setting this track up is an absolute PITA. That's no exaggeration. This is just absolutely not your traditional way of setting marble tracks up. And why don't other sets do it like this? Because this is a horrible system. let me break it down for you. Basically, as you can see, these green tracks are not pre-assembled. They're all in these tiny pieces, and basically you have to manually put them together. Now, this isn't Marbleworks where you can easily slide each piece together, or Imaginarium where they just, like, you know, pop into place and then just immediately fall out. Here, you actually basically have to take the 2 forks on the edge of one piece and put them in these little cracks of the next piece, which is not easy to do. It might seem simple, but it requires so much strength to push them far down enough to where they'll stay and the marbles won't get stuck. As you can see, it looks like they're connected, but if we look at the track, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but you can see that there's a bump here because it's not pushed up all the way. Ugh, I can't even get it any higher than that. It's so freaking hard. But if this bump is too big because you didn't put the pieces in all the way, then marbles can get stuck on that bump, which is, of course, super annoying. Now, I found that these curvy tracks are the absolute hardest to put together. The straight tracks, attaching a straight track to another straight track, it's not as bad. See, I already did it, but these curved tracks are just like total nightmares. I can kind of see why they discontinued this set and never brought it back. It's just, this is not a good system. Like, there needs to be a easier way. Like, maybe if the piece is connected from the top and not the bottom, then it would potentially be, you know, good enough. But this isn't even where the problems stop. Just making sure it's nice and tight. There we go. Let's just say we want to attach this here. So let's get a base, get a spacer, and then, uh-oh, that's not long enough. Looks like we're gonna have to do one of the other sizes of spacers. By the way, there's 3 different sizes of spacers in this set, which, of course, it's already confusing to have more than one. But let's see, this is the second tallest spacer, and oh no, it's still just a little bit too short. So this piece set up right here is literally not, you literally can't attach it because it's in between the heights of these 2 spacers, which that's obviously not good. So what we're gonna have to do is literally risk having the whole thing fall apart by removing a piece or adding a piece, depending on the situation. And then we're gonna attach this back here and see if it, does that work? Yeah. Looks like we finally got, like, one piece set up. Let's just see. And there you go, see? I know I was kind of building it in a rush, but this is why it takes so freaking long to put this set together. Because you have to deal with crap like this, where there's just these pieces that are not in tight enough. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, maybe now. There we go. Like, you can see that took me like 3.5 minutes just to put that together. And putting a full setup together probably takes about 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm saying it took 30 minutes to an hour to put up that demonstration track you saw a few minutes ago, and that wasn't even very big. So, yeah. And I should probably mention that the stickers on here actually say Galt Marble Racer, not Pinball Racer, because there was an older version of the set just called the Galt Marble Racer, which was basically the same thing, but without the pinball dish. I will say that if you do have the patience to go through the pain and suffering of putting this setup together, then I think the end result is actually worth it, because it does make unpredictable races. It may not have much variety, but it's really a good set when you finally have it all assembled. Yeah, that's basically my review of the Galt Pinball Racer. I can see why this was discontinued, and I should mention that this set is super rare now. Like, ever since they discontinued it in 2015, I have never seen it appear in any online or physical store ever. In fact, there are literally no listings of it on eBay right now. I've never seen any listings of this in years, and I only got it back when they were still being made, so. Anyways, that's about it for the Galt Pinball Racer. Now I think it's time for us to head on over to the next Marble Run set, which is my absolute favorite, Marbulous.
I have case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
This is by far the most frequently appearing Marble Run set on my channel, because it's my absolute favorite. However, I don't think that what you're looking at right now can be considered a singular set, because it's actually a combination of a bunch of different sets made by a bunch of different companies that are all compatible with each other. This includes brands like Marbulous, Marble Genius, Galt, Mindware, Redbox, and even National Geographic. Yep, all those sets, even though they're made by entirely different companies, are all compatible with each other, and I have like 20 of these sets, so I'm able to make these huge structures you see right here. So, comparing this to the other singular sets you've seen so far would be kind of unfair, so let's move over to this track, which was made with just one Marble Run set. This set is the Galt Marble Racer. Yep, that's right, Galt, the creators of the previous set, the Pinball Racer. Basically, after they discontinued that set, they replaced it with this set, which is Marbulous compatible. I should probably explain real quick. The reason why I refer to this collection of sets as Marbulous is because I believe the first ever marble track system to be compatible with all this is called Marbulous. Of course, they don't really make Marbulous anymore, but other brands like Marble Genius, Galt, and Mindware have basically replaced Marbulous. But let's just go ahead and talk about this, which is what you can expect to be able to make if you just get one small set. I'm gonna try to look at this from the eyes of someone who doesn't already have like thousands of pieces that are all compatible with this, but like this simple set is what we'll be focusing on right now. So I want to start off with, of course, the positives, which, yeah, there's a lot of them. This is just the perfect Marble Run set in my eyes. Just with this small set alone, you already get a perfect variety of pieces, just like with Imaginarium, except here the plastic is actually not bad quality. And things work super well too, because there are different lengths of pieces, but the long length pieces are exactly double the length of regular length pieces, so they're not difficult to set up. So let me just show you what the track looks like in action. And these are the standard Marbulous compatible funnels, which they can be predictable at times, so they're not the best for racing, but I think they are at least a decent size and are easy to use. And also, there's just a lot of things I've never seen any other Marble Run set have. Like a bell attachment here, although in my videos, I usually take the bell off like this because that allows marbles to have more room in this area, which can actually allow marbles to pass each other. But I do still incorporate the bells in other ways, but Marbulous sets tend to do a lot of things that I've never seen any other Marble Run set do. Like, you know how sometimes, of course, you got the spacer attachments to put spacers on top, obviously, but what about this right here, where there is none and there's just this little hole here? Well, that's what you have these for. These are basically converters, so you stick them on that little hole and then you can attach a spacer or track piece on top, and they look like this when they're not attached to anything. Pretty cool. I'm surprised I haven't seen any other track pieces do that. So, of course, this is just what can be made with one set, but oh boy, can you make more with the hundreds of other sets that are all compatible with it. And another pro I want to mention is that it does work with standard size marbles, fortunately. And, yeah, that's, I forgot to mention this, but also the Galt Pinball Racer, another pro for that set, is that also works with standard size marbles, so yeah. And another thing I want to talk about, another element that I haven't really seen any other Marble Run set do, is the fact that you can actually attach spacers on top of these funnels, even though there's no like spacer connector here like there is with Imaginarium. That's because there's these 3 rings here on the edges, which you can hook up to these toppers, I guess, and then just put spacers on top. Like, that's what I wish Imaginarium did for their funnels, because that would be a lot more convenient. And like, if we look at this track, which combines a bunch of different sets, it's clear that no other Marble Run set even gets any close to having this much variety. Like, this is literally every Marble Run piece I could ever want. Crazy curved rail pieces, peg mazes, and there's jumps too, but I don't have any set up on this track. But, yeah, that was just 5 straight minutes of positives, but of course, no Marble Run set is perfect. I still have a few cons I should probably mention. So, first of all, those 3 rings that go around the funnels, they are not very durable. I've found that it can be pretty frustrating to put these toppers on, because sometimes they won't go in all the way unless you press down hard. And if you press down too hard, then sometimes they can break off, just like this. Either partially or completely. And obviously, if this is the case, you won't be able to, you know, put these on top of that funnel anymore. So that's really frustrating. Like, you would think that with how high quality the plastic of the actual tracks are, you would think they would make these rings more durable. But no, they're not. They're like less durable than Imaginarium. And also, another piece that breaks off is, you know, this little converter here. Basically, I have like 10 of these, and if we look in this bag here, you can see that this one got ripped off. I'm gonna sit this here and compare it to one that is not broken off. This one right here. And yeah, the ones that are broken off, as long as it's not broken too far, they do still work, but obviously they're nowhere near as sturdy as the full-sized ones. So like if I try to attach this here, it doesn't really stay on its own, but this one is how it's supposed to be, and it actually stays on there well. But even then, still though, like, this set just has so many amazing things that I've never seen any other Marble Run do. I've seen people complain about it for being overused, but maybe it's overused for a reason. It's like the perfect set. Well, as close as to perfection as we're ever gonna get. Certain sets that are compatible with all this are actually really good racing sets, like the Galt Marble Racer. This is a recreation of the track that's on the box, except I don't have the racing funnels set that come with that set included here. But I do have them over here, and basically they're the equivalent to the Galt Pinball Racer funnels, but maybe even more unpredictable. I shouldn't go on about this set for too long, because you've already seen it in a million of my videos. So, overall, just for one set alone, I would give this a strong 8 out of 10. And for a massive collection of these sets, 10 out of 10. That's right, finally. After all the criticisms, we finally have a Marble Run set that gets a full 10 out of 10. So would I recommend getting this set? 10 out of 10. Absolutely yes, go for it. That's basically all I have to say about the Marbulous set. I know I really sound biased just because I barely mentioned anything wrong with the set, but that's just because I don't really see much wrong with this set at all. It's just perfect aside from the fact that some of the pieces break. Well, about that, there actually is another flaw to this set I forgot to mention, so not quite perfect. Oh, and by the way, one last flaw I want to mention before we move on to the next set is that the U-turn piece from all these Marbulous compatible sets has gone through multiple redesigns, and each one is worse than the previous one. So, like, really, it seems like you would think they would try to make the piece better and better, but I find that each iteration just gets worse and worse. So, I have them laid out here because none of these 2 tracks actually have them attached, but I'll modify a section here to show you the piece in action there and my problems with it. So this is the first design, this nice long slope. Occasionally marbles will not make it up there, but they'll go right through to the end. But hey, at least it works perfectly, no marbles ever fly out. But then, for some reason, later sets decided to do this version of the piece instead, which, as you can see, it's shorter. It seems like maybe the reason why they changed it to this is just so that the marbles are, like, guaranteed to make it all the way around that U-turn, but I find that that's still not always the case. And also, thanks to them shortening the piece, this has an even bigger problem. Because of this, it's likely that marbles will randomly just fly right off the edge of this piece here, as you can see in these examples from past videos of mine. But then, ever since like around 2020, they redesigned this piece again and changed it to this, which is by far the absolute worst of the worst. Like, seems like they tried to raise the wall on the edge, as you can see here, but it's slanted a little bit, so it doesn't keep the marbles from flying out. And I think that, honestly, this just makes marbles fly out of it more. So, like, I'm really disappointed in what they've turned a perfectly good Marble Run piece into in later sets. So that's another flaw that I want to mention, of course, is just that the U-turn sucks now, but I guess I'm a bit more fortunate since I have the very first design, which is, of course, a perfectly functional piece. Let's go ahead and move on to the next set, which is Marbleworks.
Wow! Look what just dropped into the Discovery Toys Game Zone! Marbleworks!
Alright, this is another one of my favorite sets. This set is called Marbleworks. It's an old classic. In fact, it's really an old classic that it claims to be the first Marble Run set ever. Marbleworks was actually released all the way back in 1986. And you may think that that makes Marbleworks the oldest Marble Run set ever. Well, not quite. I actually saw a YouTube video of like a commercial for a small marble race set from the 1950s.
It's Marble Race, the fun-packed new game for children and grown-ups alike.
Rev's winning. Boy, look at him go. Marble Race is lots of fun. We play it all the time.
Those stupid kids, they think they have the best marble runs. Look at this! Look at this stuff!
But yeah, obviously I don't have that. And Marbleworks is probably the oldest Marble Run set that's still being produced today, but whatever, that's not important. So anyways, let's go ahead and start with the positives, and I think there's a lot of them. First of all, just like with Imaginarium and Marbulous, this set has an amazing variety of unique pieces. Not just in the pieces I have, but the full selection of pieces from all the Marbleworks sets is really expansive. But yeah, like, just looking at this track alone, we have a lot of cool stuff. We have peg mazes, a long U-turn ramp, which is a lot cooler than the Marbulous U-turn for obvious reasons. And even a jump track, which is something I don't see in that many sets for some reason. And this big spiral piece. And also, it seems like this set was designed with racing in mind, considering that it has this perfectly convenient finish where you can see the exact order of the marbles that make it there. And then there's also the starting point, which allows you to launch 6 marbles simultaneously. So let's go ahead and demonstrate it. And I have more things to say about this set after we're done with this demonstration. Oops, looks like they kind of struggle with that piece sometimes. Yeah, pretty dang cool. So, yeah, another pro I want to mention is that out of all the Marble Run sets I have, this is probably the most sturdy and durable. Like, it's apparently made of high-impact polystyrene instead of traditional plastic. So that makes it a pretty expensive set, which is one of the only problems I have with this set. But, I think it's actually worth all the money. This is like $200. At least for what you see here. And unlike with Quadrilla, this is actually worth the money. So, as you can see, even if I wiggle this track, it's very sturdy. Like, these pieces are built to last. It literally says that on the box. In fact, it's so built to last that these sets can literally last for decades, because at my cousin's house, they have an old Marbleworks set from 1999, which I remember using before I had my own Marbleworks set, and that set is still in perfectly good condition, aside from the box, which is really torn up, but the box is just cardboard, so can't really blame it on that. So, that was a lot of positives, so what could possibly be wrong with such a perfect set? Well, let's go ahead and talk about the Cons. Oh my gosh, that was an awful voice crack. Well, the first flaw I want to mention about this set, and undoubtedly the biggest problem with this set, is of course the fact that even though this was so close to potentially topping Marbulous, they just had to make it so that it doesn't work with standard size marbles. Really? Really, Discovery? You really think that this is going to make people want your set more? See, this one won't go in there. So, at least they can still be loaded. And, of course, they can't even make it through the funnel. Like, come on, you really think that everyone is just gonna prefer to use these tiny marbles? Like, no, it's not as convenient. In fact, the funnels and the starting positions are not the only pieces that standard size marbles can't go through. If you want to know a full list of the pieces that don't fit with standard size marbles, I'll go ahead and list them now. Basically, standard size marbles will not fit on the peg mazes, the funnels, the starting gates, the paddle wheel track if the wheel is attached, and also the jump catcher. Yeah. Fortunately, all the other pieces work, but man, that's such a shame. And the second flaw I want to mention about Marbleworks is that I don't really like the split track. Of course, I'm glad it has a split track since most sets don't have them. But man, I don't like how it's basically random whether the marble goes left or right, because as you can see here, there's no moving part in the center that alternates between like left and right directions. Like even the quadrilla split path has an alternator inside. So like marbles are guaranteed to have an even split across these tracks. But here, if you don't have the Marbleworks split track balanced perfectly, then 90% of the marbles are only going to go in like one direction and ignore the other. So you kind of have to like, there we go, press down on both sides. And also, I found that sometimes, well right now it's actually working really well, but sometimes marbles are just going to get stuck in the center, just like this. And then just stay there unless they get pushed by another marble. And then that marble that pushes that marble immediately gets stuck immediately after. So I'm really not a big fan of the Marbleworks split path. And the third and final criticism I have with Marbleworks is probably going to be a controversial one because it is kind of a dumb thing to complain about, but you're basically looking at it right now, so let's just get right to it. Honestly, I don't even really like the color scheme the modern Marbleworks sets have, which is what you're looking at right now. This dull yellow, blue, and purple color scheme just doesn't appeal to me the way the rainbow colors do. And in fact, if you look at the vintage Marbleworks sets from the 80s and 90s, those definitely had a bigger variety of colors. Like, this was clearly a choice to make the entire set this boring color scheme. So yeah, that's just a minor criticism I wanted to mention. Now, this would be where I would be done talking about Marbleworks and we would wrap this video up, but around the year 2018, a brand new Marble Run set was randomly released by the same people who made Marble Genius, and this new set was actually compatible with Marbleworks. And this set is the Mr. Marble Run. Yeah, that's a pretty dumb name for a marble track, but this set is not dumb at all. In my opinion, it might be superior over Marbleworks, because honestly, this set is the perfect example of anything you can do, I can do better. Yep, as you can see, this is probably the world's first non-Marbleworks set to be compatible with Marbleworks. And like every problem, every criticism I've had with Marbleworks, Mr. Marble fixes. Except actually the one flaw that the Mr. Marble set does not fix is the terrible split tracks. As you can see, they are exactly the same as the Marbleworks one. But still, all the other issues are fixed. But unfortunately, the Mr. Marble set was discontinued a few years ago and they never brought it back. I'm glad I was able to get my hands on it when it was available, and I still have it today, of course. The only Mr. Marble set that was ever released was the starter set, which only contained like 48 pieces. I could have gotten multiple starter sets, but I just assumed, hey, maybe they'll come out with the Mr. Marble Deluxe set. But of course they never did. Oh well. let's go ahead and check it out. So this is what can be made with the starter set I have. And yeah, it's not much, but man, quality is definitely a lot more valuable than quantity, because this, as I mentioned earlier, fixes almost every issue I have with the Marbleworks set. I still think that it doesn't top Marbulous, just because Marbulous has a lot more variety and I'm just more attached to it. But still, this in combination with Marbleworks is an amazing set. So, yeah, first of all, there's no starting gate here because mine unfortunately broke off, so that's like a con I forgot to mention with Marbleworks and Mr. Marble is that, you know, this little stem can break off on one side. This happened with the vintage Marbleworks set at my cousin's house, but yeah, so I just have the starting platform here. To start off the positives, first of all, this set actually allows full-sized, standard-sized marbles, unlike Marbleworks. So as you can see, the marbles are not going to get stuck from being too big. And my favorite part of this is these gigantic funnels that come with the set. You only get 2, but man, they can lead to some intense moments. They may not be as unpredictable as like the Galt Marble Racer funnels. They're basically standard Marbulous funnels, but they're definitely a lot better than those tiny Marbleworks funnels, which are still pretty good. And unfortunately, they didn't fix the split tracks. The split tracks are exactly the same as the Marbleworks ones, and this is the flaw I mentioned earlier on how they can get stuck in the middle. And also, these paddle wheels that come with the set on their own are not very good. They don't spin very well. However, fortunately, all you have to do to fix that problem is just replace those wheels with Marbulous paddle wheels, which work perfectly with this set. Oops, that fell out. But yeah, another con I want to mention, probably the last con with Mr. Marble, is these are the only finishing bases in the set, so there's none of those racing ones where the marbles line up. But thankfully, of course, Marbulous is 100% compatible with Marbleworks, so just for this build I used only Mr. Marble pieces. And also the color scheme is not as boring as the modern Marbleworks one is. And also, the actual last flaw I want to mention is that although I like most of the piece redesigns, I don't really like the fact that for some reason they decided to make the Marbleworks zigzag like 1.5 times longer. It's not quite twice as long, so it's kind of difficult to implement. Apparently that marble was stuck earlier on, and just got stuck again in that split track, but still. Definitely, my overall rating for Marbleworks would definitely be a strong 8.5 out of 10. And the Mr. Marble set would definitely get a 9 out of 10. And when you combine them both together, 10 out of 10. Although I still prefer Marbulous, but Marbulous and Marbleworks and Mr. Marble are all really good sets. However, unfortunately, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Mr. Marble set has since been discontinued, but you can still get Marbleworks. I've built up quite the collection of Marbleworks pieces. I have way more Marbleworks than Mr. Marble. But yeah, when you combine them together, it works out pretty well. So that's my review of these sets in this video. We went over, you know, Galt, Pinball Racer, Marbulous, and Marbleworks / Mr. Marble. So the next set is going to be Hubolino, but of course that's going to be in the next video, because this is over 30 minutes long. Wow. I certainly had a lot to say in this episode, so the next part is either going to be the final part of the series or the second to final part, because I do have a few surprise Marble Run sets that have never appeared on the channel before. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this huge video, and yeah, goodbye guys!